Welcome back to another episode of the Otter Players Podcast, where this week we'll talk about Nintendo making a new acquired investment in Bandai Namco Singapore, Sega finally acknowledging the detrimental effects of their definitive editions, Metaphor ReFantasio's director talking about JRPGs 3.0, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 with some of the worst sales the company has ever seen, and much more. But first up, we'll go ahead and see what everybody's been playing and jump right into it. Weep, how are you, sir, and what have you been playing?
I'm good, thank you, sir. I've been, of course, going on a spending spree with Black Friday, as we all are, I assume. Um, yeah, and of course, I've been playing plenty of games. I finished Donkey Kong Bonanza. Um, haven't really changed my opinion of it. It is, fun game, but definitely not a game of the year contender. Um, it certainly managed to change the formula. Like I do think it's an improvement over their attempts to recreate Donkey Kong Country in 3D to a lesser well, to not really much success, I would say. um, but yeah, it also isn't that innovative, as in, it's doing something that feels so completely different, that, I mean, the main draw are the destruction mechanics, which are definitely fun, but also can be frustrating as well, because the camera isn't really cooperating. And like as soon as you dig in you know in the ground or whatever, yeah, you completely lose your sense of direction. Like, I don't know how many times I've been digging only to find out that I've basically been digging in circles. um, so yeah, fun experience. Not my game of the year, but I can appreciate anybody who really enjoyed it. Other than that, I've continued Visions of Mana, though haven't quite gotten much further this week. I did get, I think, past the halfway point, so sort of do know what the mission is going to be for the getting to the end of the game. So I'll see if I can manage to finish it in time before Metroid Prime 4 drops. Uh, but yeah, it doesn't help that I get distracted by some other games, because, of course, Black Friday sales. So I upped my subscription of PlayStation Plus Premium for like 15 bucks for the remainder of the time. So I finished Sword of the Sea in the meantime, which also was a pretty fun game. Gorgeous, as usual, from the developers. Pretty short, but also pretty, I guess, therapeutical experience, where you just, you're on your sword, snowboarding through the deserts, and all the other landscapes that they introduce, um, and just, enjoying the music. Very little combat, which, I like, and just, trying to get, through to the end of the journey. Uh, Also played a demo of that new Lumines game, which is really hard trying to beat. You know, the latest Tetris Effect, I think it was called. Um, Except, gameplay is far less intuitive. So yeah, I tried it a bit, but yeah, I'm probably not gonna get it, because it's not, doesn't feel fun enough for me to invest a lot of time in it. And right now I'm playing another small indie game that is also on premium, called Carto, which is a sort of indie puzzle-like game where you play a character who is able to change sort of the map. So it's sort of a top-down, classic Zelda, I guess, it would be the most apt description perspective, and you can just once you collect map pieces, you can essentially open the map and just place them wherever you want, or at least a connecting piece, and then just move to that new area, and you can just change the direction of the map, so you can unlock new areas, or connect different areas that you couldn't connect before. So it is pretty fun. So far, can be a bit obtuse because there are times where I'm like, okay, you're really unclear what you want me to do right now. Some cases, literally, that there are map pieces that don't appear until you position your map in the right direction. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's a short indie game that I'll probably finish in this weekend, and then I'll see if I hop on to Vision of Mana again, or maybe something else until Metroid Prime 4 drops. So yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Cool, cool. Yeah, lots of good stuff. Like you said, coming towards the end of the year here. I know a lot of people. The hype for Metroid Prime 4 has been kind of crazy right now. Especially now that some people have gotten to try it. Um, I don't know why people or not people, but Nintendo specifically still does these in-game only or these in-store only demos. I'm just like, bro, just put it on the store. Like, stop acting like you special. Like, just let everybody try the demo. Like, this type of stuff drives me crazy with Nintendo, man. Like, they're still so archaic with some of the stuff that they do, trying to like make stuff exclusive, and it's like, you gotta find a random Switch 2 kiosk somewhere, and hope that it has it loaded on it. It's just kind of weird. But yeah, a lot of excitement for that title coming up. Omar, what have you been playing, sir?
Some people, so she is not here, but shout out to Monaghan, uh, because of her literally bullying me in a good way. I played this patch and I beat it, and yeah, GOTY contender, absolutely GOTY contender. Um, Legit one of the best game, but more important this year, but more importantly, one of the best superhero game. Like every superhero, anti-villain, whatever, supervillain, whatever you want to call it, was believable. They all felt real. They have different personality, the laughter, the crying, the emotional impact. Robert is a bitch, the music, everything. Goatee. I can't stress it enough, Goatee. Now, I'm not sure if Steve Fresh is here or not, but I played a game he wanted to play, which is Constant, I think. If that's how you say it. Basically, it's a Metrovania. You're a girl with a brush, and Economically, Metrovanians are mostly known for not having good storytelling. At least the Metrovania that I did play, I always get overshadowed with the gameplay and the platforming itself. With this one, it was kind of decent. You kind of understand where the story is heading. It's simple, but it's literally a thin line to create the game, which is the gameplay, which is phenomenal. The platforming is amazing. The combat itself is superficial, passable. You're not gonna think twice about it. Like this is not a ton of this level of combat, but the platforming though, great. I truly enjoyed it, and I went back to Dying Light. I still wanna beat it before playing some other games. However, I did get me my first Black Friday haul, which was Lost Aside for €25, which is a pretty big deal. I say myself, I know you don't think so. I should have better played on PC because of performance and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm happy with what I got. I'm gonna try it out and see if it. I did play the demo, so I know what I'm getting myself into. Outside of that, I'm I'm trying to find myself a game share controller, but get this in a they only ship to the USA and
Oh,
some other random country, but they don't ship to the Netherlands, which
yeah,
is
that sucks.
frustrating because I wanna pay money for it. Um,
That's literally like the cheapest top tier controller right now.
like I wanna pay you money. I found a good one, the Wushang version, and it's literally for €50. Like here, I'm throwing money on the TV. It's not working because I don't live in the USA. But outside of that, that's about it on my end.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know. We'll look into it some more after the show. There might be some other ones like Xbox has a bunch of aftermarket controllers, so that have official licensing. So there's probably some other ones. I didn't look because all I know they're all more expensive. I actually just ordered the GameSir G7 Pro for myself um, for $60, so because it was on sale. And
Crazy
then
part is they're
yeah,
literally sending to Ukraine. Like,
yeah,
how you
that's
gonna send to Ukraine?
yeah, that's
Or
weird.
like, they sending to Ukraine, India, and Portugal. Like, that's so random. I'm gonna
Yeah,
miss
usually I
myself.
mean usually there's like a reseller or something, but like you said, we'll check into it more. I know there's some other ones, but I don't know how much more expensive they are. I know a lot of people. I think Sunny might actually have it. Um, well, people also swear by that Razer controller, but I can tell you right now, anything with the name Razer on it is overpriced by probably 80%, if not more. Like Razer just, I don't know. Razer just became like a terrible company when it came to pricing, and the quality definitely dropped on some of their stuff. So um, I guess with the exception of this controller, because people swear the Razer something Wolverine 3 or something. I don't know. I always thought the controller didn't look all that appealing anyway, but we'll look into it some more. Um, but yeah, as for ship 'em one, but bro, it's so expensive, so expensive. Yeah, the Wolverine. Um, he said 8-bit dough. Yeah, the 8-bit dough is a good. That is actually a really good suggestion, Henry. The 8-bit dough Ultimate controller would probably be a good substitute um, for what he's looking for, and it'll be around the same price. And he still gets back buttons if you get the Ultimate. Um, it is not an official controller, but it behaves like one, so it doesn't really matter if it's official. I know a lot of people who actually, instead of getting the Game Sir, they actually got the 8-bit to Ultimate controller. So yeah, I'm glad Henry mentioned that because I didn't think about that one, and that also, I'm pretty sure the 8-bit to Ultimate controller also comes with its own dongle, but I'll have to double check that. But yeah, because like I said, something like the Wolverine would be really expensive. I'm pretty sure it's a $200 controller. So we're
The
definitely not.
Wolverine.
Yeah, we're not. We're definitely not looking in that territory for you.
So, which one should I go with?
I mean, we're probably gonna look at the 8-bit Ultimate controller because chances are, I mean, their controller's been out for like a year, so chances
8-bit.
are,
So, okay.
yeah,
I'm gonna Google it right now.
yeah, chances are there are a million 8-bit controllers, right? So it has to be
Uh
called the
huh.
Ultimate.
Okay.
But yeah, as for what I've been playing, I don't know. I've been all over the place. It's always like this at the end of the year. Morgan, the same way. I did try to wake her up. She'd been running ragged. uh, going back and forth to her parents and um, stuff like that. And then she went to go buy a present for her brother that I looked up for her. So she had to go pick that up. Um, so that's why she basically didn't go to bed. So we stayed up till like 7 a.m. East Coast time, and then she went straight to her parents' house. So that's why she's basically knocked out right now. She was playing Wonder Stop. So my niece, and Fox were all watching her play Wonder Stop till 7 a.m. So yeah, that was like a whole thing. Um, but yeah, like I said, as for what I've been playing, um, man, I've been all over the place. I did start uh, Monsters Are Coming, but that's not the whole name. Uh, Monsters Are Coming, Rockin' Road. Um,
Oh yeah,
yeah, it
the
was
castle one, right?
yeah the castle one. So basically, it's like a tower defense with a moving castle. It's pretty interesting. I'm a big fan of tower defense of any kind. So any of this stuff we get, I'm all for it. Um, so I did realize it was on Game Pass, um,
Yeah,
which is like cool. I mean, I was gonna re-get it anyway, but my Game Pass ran out, and anybody who has tried this or talked about this knows Microsoft actively hides the PC Game Pass option. Uh, so after going through over the river and through the woods, to grandmother's house we go, to finally find the PC Game Pass option. I was finally able to subscribe to it, and then, like I said, I started playing uh, Monsters Are Coming. That was a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun
I
with that.
think Sonny was playing it. That's how I saw it. His Twitter feed, I think. He was putting some gameplay of it. But is it a roguelite or no?
No, not really.
Okay, interesting. I assumed it was going to be a roguelite
Somebody
because
somebody said some sort of roguelike elements, but I don't really know why they
it does
said
have
that.
it does have roguelite elements that I'm fully aware of.
I mean, so they say,
Okay.
but I don't really think so. It's just a run based game. So you get as far as you get, and if you beat it, then you unlock new stuff, and then you go to the next level. Like I think it's more level based, not like I think people sometimes are confusing. That's actually a big reason why I don't like the roguelike genre or roguelite like discussion, because there's never, I mean, we know what it means and we know the specific things, but some people will then call certain things roguelike or roguelite, and it's like it's not really that. Like
Yeah.
level based runs are not new. We've been doing that since SNES or NES or whatever. So like that's not a new thing. But yeah,
And the
that,
same story was told like and JRPG I meant RPG and all that. I get it.
yeah, yeah. So some of these companies definitely, some of these games are definitely rogue or Souls like though, but they just don't be wanting to admit it because it's kind of taken on a negative connotation where a lot of people will avoid your game if you are said to be Souls like. So a lot of I noticed a lot of games trying to distance themselves from that, but it's like, look, if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. So that's pretty much how we treat that one. Um, as far as what else I've been playing, I did do a second playthrough of Dispatch, start to finish, um, so I could get the proper the proper ending where I romance Blonde Blazer. Um,
Oh,
the
I fucked that up. You fucked that up. As well. I see.
Yeah, it didn't. It's weird because there's a bunch of
It's such
stuff.
a minuscule choice that you make that it cost you
Yeah,
that ending.
there's a
A bunch
bunch
of
of stuff.
nice sons of bitches.
Yeah, I know. Um, but
I
yeah, I
fucked
had
up
to fix
once,
that.
and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're not getting well."
Yeah,
And the
there's a lot of choices that matter that they don't
and,
really specify.
and the crazy part is, I literally was her number one fan, and I put her on such high pedestal, and all I did is one mistake, and someone else. Like, why? That made no sense to me.
Yeah,
I thought
it's
it's
definitely
gonna forgive,
it's definitely
but no
weird.
forgiving.
Um, but yeah, what else have I been playing? Like I said, I've been all over the place. Like I've been finishing stuff. I've also still been continuing Demon School, the new SRPG, but it's weird to even call it that because it's like it's more complicated than that. Um, it's like an SRPG with puzzle mechanics, um, and not traditional puzzle. I'm saying puzzle as in like, if you guys have ever played one of those park the car games, uh, I guess is how I would describe it, where you're trying to get a car out of a parking space, and then, you move the other cars so that you can get the car out of the space or whatever. It's really
Yeah, I
weird.
know what you're talking about. The mobile game. Yeah, I see
Yeah,
it on the.
it's kind of like that, only because there's so many combos and stuff that can happen, and certain characters don't do certain things. Like one character only moves stuff behind her, but she doesn't attack. So then you use the other character to put in place to then push the units into her, which then creates a combo attack and does like triple damage. So it's very interesting when it works and it clicks. I posted some gameplay footage on my timeline, so some of y'all will have seen that. It is extraordinarily interesting though. I'm having a ball with Demon
How's
School.
the story?
I mean, it's good so far. I mean, I'm not super far, but so far, I mean, I'm not mad at it. And then I also bought and started Fantasian Neo Dimension, which was, I believe, if I'm saying this correctly, Nobu Uematsu's last fully done soundtrack. Uh,
Yeah,
where he from start to finish, like he's not
the
gonna
Final
do another.
Fantasy dude.
Yeah, he's
His
not
last
gonna do
one.
another one where he does
If
it
I
start to
remember
finish.
correctly, this was on what you call it, on Apple devices, and then it got ported to other places, right?
No, I mean, not that enough. It launched on console as far as I know.
Oh no, that's a different one. No, no, no. There is one that they did for Apple only, and then it's ported somewhere else. But
Yeah,
okay.
that's something else. Um, and then I also um bought and started Octopath Traveler 0 is not out yet, but the demo is out and it will transfer to the game when it launches. So I went on ahead and copped that. Bought the deluxe edition for that. Um, and then we played the Reanimal demo with Morgan. And then I also bought Final Fantasy 7 8 remastered, which I had already started because Final Fantasy 8 is one of my favorites, but I hadn't bought it yet because it was just forever on like PlayStation Plus, so I just had access to it, so I just didn't pay it any mind. But it went off of PS Plus and it was on sale, so I picked that up naturally because, like I said, it's my favorite Final Fantasy. Um, and then I also been going back to Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection, which is honestly a absolutely massive undertaking when you consider that I played these games like throughout like growing up for years and years and years. Like there's just so many of them. Um, so yeah, that's been like a challenge.
I legit gotta ask you this one. How the fuck do you imagine the bottom prompt to all these games? Don't you make mistake mid gameplay pressing the right button? You thinking about
No,
a different game?
no.
You didn't
As
say.
long as I don't stay away from a game for too long, I don't really have any issue. Uh,
Yeah, you didn't say with that one. The
the
most I
only
can
games
handle.
that's tough is returning to something like No Man's Sky or Baldur's Gate 3 because both of those games have a lot of complex systems in place. So I wouldn't
Actually,
really go away from those games while I was actively playing them because that you can get really lost easily trying to come back to those games. Um, and then I'm still finishing up the ending of Super Robot Wars Y. It's taking me a while because, like, bro, this is like the toughest Super Robot Wars has ever been. Like, I don't know, they went like crazy with the ending for this game, and like they throw a metric ton of enemies at you. It's kind of tough to like really align everything. Like you can bump up and go through side missions and kind of get your characters more powerful and do a bunch of stuff. But I'm trying to beat it so I could start New Game Plus, um, so that
Are you not gonna wait on the DLC? Because I'm pretty sure if you're gonna
the
do
DLC
the
already came out.
oh, okay.
Yeah, the Big O DLC and Common Rider came out already. The next DLC is gonna be a while, so like I'm not gonna wait on that. um, I mean, if it happens to come before then, cool. But I mean, I'm focusing on beating the game through one run first. I will probably pick up Common Rider and Big O before I do the final mission, since they've been added now. And like I said, I've got
Yeah, that's what I meant.
yeah, I have the Ultimate Edition, so I get all the DLC and upcoming DLC, included. Um, then of course there's Final Fantasy Tactics, which honestly I've barely had a chance to get into. I think I completed the first level, like, because I already know that's like a whole undertaking. Then I'm also completing Suikoden 2. I'm at the end of that. Um, I'm at the end of Unicorn Overlord.
You're everywhere. You're playing like 10 games
Yeah,
minimum.
yeah, and then Digimon Time Strangers, as well. Also started the Alters. Um, yeah, like the list is crazy right now. Like I said,
Yo, are you sure you don't have a copy of yourself, like a clone of your clone, playing all these games? Like I can't, I can't imagine doing what you're doing, and you work as you're not. You're
yeah, it's
crazy.
it's been nuts right now. Also, I did start the Keeper, which
Oh, this dude.
yeah, which I need to finish. I managed to find a mod for the game. This is one good thing. So, by the way, this is a good topic for a second here. This is a good thing about a bunch of games being on Unreal Engine 5, despite all the performance issues. So, I have an ultra wide monitor, and a lot of games do support ultra wide, thankfully. Shout out to Monsters Are Coming for doing that. Um, but Keeper did not, because they said it was a aesthetic choice. Whatever, I don't really care. Um, but because the game is on Unreal 5, uh, basically the editing points where people create mods to make games ultra wide that are not, any game that is on Unreal 5 or Unreal Engine period, has the same editing points in order to make it ultra wide. So they can literally mod any game to be ultra wide in like 30 seconds.
The fact that they can do that and companies don't even take that into effect is crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. So, perks of the modding community doing their thing. Um, they also did the same thing for Metal Gear, the Metal Gear Snake Eater recent release. They I
30
had
seconds?
yeah 30 seconds. It's
Are you
because
not
it's
exaggerating?
no, I'm not.
Ooh,
They
wow.
literally inject the same points. They just have to inject them into the game and then pull the file, and then uh, I mean it's okay. Yes, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but 5 minutes, whatever. Um,
Okay, maximum 5 minutes, I get it, but it's
yeah,
still easy play.
it's
Like literally
extremely
plug and
easy.
play. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
like an
crazy.
hour after the game is out, maybe they'll usually have the mod out. And 50 plus
Yeah,
hours just playing it
shout
right
out
now.
to the modders then.
Yeah, yeah, basically Henry. If it exactly hero, if it smells like a Souls game, I avoid it. Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm the same way. Although I do remember, I think it was Henry that was playing, and I think it's his game of the year, if I'm remembering correctly. Um, the Hell Is Us. How he was saying, even though it looks like one, and because the devs definitely said it wasn't. I think Henry was saying that after he beat it, He said Hell is Us is he wouldn't consider it Souls, even though it very much looks like it when you
It
see it
got a
from
lot
afar.
of those mechanic, not gonna lie.
Yeah, it looks like it has a ton of them, but according to him and some of the stuff, some of the gameplay he showed, it doesn't. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so yeah, he is the one that played it. I knew I was remembering that correctly. Cool. But yeah, like I said, Morgan may or may not join us. I don't know. I tried. She texted me to wake her up when we started the podcast, so I even technically gave her like another hour of sleep because we started later, trying to see if she would come. So we will see if she makes it. I called her twice, but like she was like she might be in a coma, and I understand that completely. When you stay up and you're running on fumes and then you finally pass out, like you might not hear the ringer. Um, but yeah, so first step, Nintendo plans to buy Bandai Namco Singapore. Um, for anybody who hasn't known with this studio, so that this wasn't specific about what they did before. Um, so it just says that they worked on some of these games, but I don't know their specific involvement. Um, the game, one of the games that they did work on though was sadly, this is what I say, sadly for me. And again, I don't know if they're just a support studio or what. Um, but they um, they specifically they worked on Splatoon 3. They also worked on Ace Combat 7, which is my jam. That game is tough though. And then what was the? It's like a list of stuff that they worked on. I was trying to find it. Um, like it's a significant amount of games that they've worked on for specifically for Nintendo. So when you realize it, like they also did Soul Calibur 6. Um, they don't even list all their titles on here, which is weird. Then they worked on some like super Japanese game. I forget what the name of this is because it's literally in Japanese. Like there's an English translation, but I don't think it shows it on here. Toko no Sujin. Apparently, it is a VR rhythm attraction game that they made. But I know they worked on a couple other ones. They also were apparently behind Metroid Prime 4 as well. So this company's been working with Nintendo like a ton. So them kind of looking to snap them up is going to be interesting. So fun fact though, um, yeah, I don't know what's going on. So it is kind of interesting that they're looking to acquire them while I guess there's like a whole thing going on with like China and Japan again. Honestly,
Yeah, that one as well.
yeah, honestly, I wish for once in my life I could go a day and not hear about China like having tension with someone, bro. Like I'm just like, can y'all just calm down? Like please, like calm down and enjoy being like the number one economy and just enjoy the fact that you got the W. Like you manufacture everything. Just be happy, bro. Like I'm
Which
like
is, it's like what you call it, Microsoft, eh? They
What what
don't
what
support.
what what does sorry? What does this have to do with their acquisition of the Singapore studio?
because there was a issue that actually was affected uh during the Bandai Namco Singapore celebration recently,
Ah,
uh,
all right.
where it happened at the celebration for the studio where a Japanese singer was invited and was performing and was stopped and escorted out
Yeah,
uh,
I watched that YouTube
due
like,
to tension between China
yeah,
and Japan.
and there's also removing some stuff from I think Honkai Rail or something else. I forgot which one. Yeah, no, like
Yeah,
it's
Well, I mean,
impacting a
I'm,
lot of games now.
yeah, I'm not surprised considering that Japan just elected their own version of Margaret Thatcher. Um,
Ah, okay. So
Their own
that
version of Donald
so there
Trump,
was
you mean?
a political change in
yeah,
Japan that
she said something about like but the Taiwan issue where China had in the past said like they would ensure that Taiwan would rejoin China even if they need to use military force and she basically said that she wouldn't allow that she would use military force to intervene, which is obviously
that's where this is coming from.
yeah
Okay.
that yeah, you can kind of understand that tensions are high. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to understand where it came from because I was like, man, everybody was chilling 5 minutes ago, and I was like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
I was like, what happened, bro? Like, I was like, we was all getting along. You know, China was getting mad open, and people were visiting without visas, and man, it was getting wild over there. Like, I was like, all right, China's opening up. We're good to go. Everybody's gonna stop tripping. Like, we're all gonna get along. This is gonna be great. And then it was like it's always somebody in politics, bro. Like, okay, real
Oh
second
yeah.
side note, fuck politicians, bro. Like, we're not gonna get crazy political, but fuck politicians, bro. They are literally the motherfuckers causing us all these problems, bro. Like, I'm sick of this shit. Like if we were just like, yeah, the ones actually making the choices for the betterment of all of our countries in some of these places, like there would be no issue. Like politicians are always just like trying to they always have some side agenda or lobbying for some company or some other nonsense. And it's like, look, bro, the only thing your only job is to do good things for your people. Like just do good things, stop with the warmongering nonsense and get along and like make things great for us. Like do that. So yeah, I'd appreciate if politicians could actually do their fucking job. Yeah, okay. Yeah, sorry. I got sidetracked there because like I'm sick of like politicians causing us issues since like the dawn of man. Like
I
and
don't
like
blame you, dude.
yeah, I mean this
I
goes
really
back
don't
to
blame
like
you.
before we had, governments and all this stuff. I'm talking like, the chief of the tribe, causing shit cuz so and so didn't like so and so's daughter or something crazy. Like it goes back to literally since we've had societies where somebody in charge doesn't like something and is upset about something that's completely unrelated and then it just causes everybody else problems. So, yeah, fuck politicians.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's up, Will, C Fresh? I see you guys joined as well. Um, but yeah, like I said, hopefully the stuff works out. Because it's gonna be real awkward if if Nintendo purchases Bandai Namco's Singapore studio, and then basically nothing can come of this because there's so many issues going on between Japan and China. So hopefully they get that situated. But yeah, given what we just gave me, I'm not sure because yeah, I know that whole situation has been going on forever and has been tense. So the fact that that was mentioned like could just be really weird from like a business aspect. But yeah, I don't know if you guys specifically wanted to add anything in particular to this topic, but um,
The sad reality is they make money out of it.
yeah,
That's basically what's come down to. Money and power. That's why politics is the sad reality. But
yeah,
yeah, I'm with you. Fuck that cat.
yeah. I would say that the biggest benefit to this for people wondering like what this move will really do for them, that basically the biggest thing people have been kind of alluding to is that this company will basically be like a major support studio for Nintendo. Since honestly, like their last 7 games, only one game was for Bandai Namco specifically. Like I said, which was Ace Combat 7, um, which I love personally. But I get it. Like literally everything else they've worked on um, has mainly been that. Like I said, they did do Soul Calibur 6 as well as some Tekken 7 and Tekken 8. Um, so they did some sort of work on that as well. But like I said, they also did Splatoon 3, and then there was a bunch of other Nintendo stuff, but I can't find that specific list that I found uh, earlier that said like all the stuff. But basically, they seem to be like a major support studio. So it's going to essentially bolster um, Nintendo's ability to get some of these titles out from an internal standpoint. Most people know Nintendo doesn't really acquire anyone, and usually if they do, they kind of bring them into the fold ASAP. So I'm assuming that's what uh, is going to happen here with Bandai Namco Studios.
I'm surprised Bandai Namco would even allow this.
Yeah, I didn't even know about this company. Like, I didn't know they were specifically in
Me neither.
Singapore
Me
and
neither.
all this other stuff. Oh, here we go. The other two games that I was failing to mention that they also worked on was Hirogami, which released this last September, um, which was on PlayStation and PC, I think. Yeah, PlayStation and PC. And then they also were in charge of Pokemon Snap in 2021. So
Yeah, I played Hirogami. I was hyped for it, but after playing it, it's passable. It's okay at best.
it's a really cool concept, though. So when we
Yeah,
saw it at
I
the
like the
PlayStation State
concept.
of Play, it looked pretty good.
I like the concept. It's just they don't have a lot of Hirogami
Yeah.
forms.
But yeah, so they've worked on quite a bit. I mean, Splatoon 3, I could get why they would want them because Splatoon 3 was a massive hit. Um, so I could get why Nintendo would want them, and then they'll probably get them to make a new Pokemon Snap, and so on and so forth. I'm just kind of sad because, like I said, if they're the studio specifically for Bandai Namco that works on Ace Combat, I don't know if we'll see a new one or when, because they definitely wouldn't work on that if they were acquired by Nintendo. So but Bandai Namco is huge, so they may have another studio for that or whatever. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, interesting purchase from them. Honestly, it kind of makes sense. I feel like a lot of people were saying they didn't. It's not like Nintendo did something crazy or unprecedented. Usually, when Nintendo works closely with someone and they work well, they look to bring them into the fold. So um, I've never seen them particularly take a single piece of another company. I thought that was kind of interesting. It was stated as like Bandai Namco Singapore studio was like a separate entity altogether, which kind of makes sense when you understand how a lot of companies work through China, like a subsidiary um, in China to kind of facilitate activities and sales and so on in China. You basically need like a go between in order to get a lot of stuff done in China, unless you're like really ingrained out there. Um, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what comes of that. Like I said, them working together is not new, so I'm sure that relationship will foster some great games coming up in the future. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting purchase. Um, so another thing that came up in topics this week, Sega acknowledges that releasing the definitive edition of their games may be costing them sales and early buyers. So anybody who's familiar with this practice, in particular, obviously we've seen other companies do it, but Sega in particular is famous for Persona 5, and Persona 5 Royale, Persona 4, Persona 4 Golden. Um, you have SMT
People are
5.
waiting on the Metaphor edition. Like, it's coming.
Yeah, and then you have SMT5 Vengeance. So yeah, and then like Omar was saying here now, obviously Metaphor is the last game they released, so people are anticipating Metaphor, the Super Refantasio edition or whatever the hell they want to call it. Basically, you get these titles where they have a ton of quality of life updates. Um, a lot of them will have completely new routes or other things. I mean, I get it. I can get the hesitation as an early buyer, especially if you were kind of on the fence and you're like, man, I'll just wait for the definitive edition or whatever. I mean, people do that with other games, other titles that tend to do this kind of stuff. We get the complete edition from other companies, right? Um, to me, there's a significant difference in a lot of these. Like Persona 5 Royale, I only recommend people play Persona 5 Royale at this point. I don't recommend the original, the non Royale. To me, it's just missing too many quality of life updates that make playing the game just that much better and that much more enjoyable. Um, They removed some of the constraints that were in the game. SMT5 Vengeance specifically is like way better. Like there's an entirely different route that's way more interesting than the original game, which was honestly just seen as boring. Including them, like they mentioned, it might have been kind of boring, and so this other route, which I ran and I beat last year, is way more interesting. So again, I get
Oh
why
yeah, and
people would wait.
apparently in SMG5 they tell you something left behind payment that give you extra XP or something. That's coming as fuck,
I don't know.
so I'm not surprised.
I don't wait. What?
Apparently, in SMG5 there is, I think if I remember correctly, it give you extra XP or something.
Oh yeah, I mean you don't have to get that.
No, still, when you look it up like that, it's still coming as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, but that's not specific to the definitive edition or whatever. It's just there as an option. But I got the deluxe edition or whatever it was called, so I got it anyway. Like it
Mm.
was included with my edition. So if you get the ultimate edition or whatever you want to call it, you get it included anyway. All it does is it makes them spawn more. That's all it really does. Um, so the things are in the game that generate more XP and all that other stuff, but basically you almost get them constantly when you have that turned on. And I know some people who are like they turn it off just because they felt like it was too aggressive or something. You know me, I don't care. I'm showing up level 99, ready to make the ceiling fall. So I don't. Yeah, there's no such thing as being too powerful in a video game for me. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, anybody who has played any of these knows, especially if you played the original. Um, I get why people would wait. So I think Sega is right to be concerned about people holding off on the original release for some of these titles. Personally, I would never. I'm not like Persona 6 is not going to release, and I'm going to sit here and be like, I'm going to wait for the definitive edition. Absolutely not. Like, we're not doing that. Like, I've been waiting long enough for this title. Yeah, that's not happening. So, but I definitely get their concern, thinking, they're gonna cut short. And I know people who will definitely do this, right? Um, I know Hero was saying he just did that with Avatar. They came out with some super complete edition for Avatar to the point where they're about to. But again, this is going to change the game significantly, right? This is a huge, huge update for Avatar. Also, shout out to Ubisoft. This is a sidetrack, but shout out to Ubisoft, at least in this regard. When it comes to supporting a game, bro, almost nobody competes with Ubisoft. They will support games that you swear were dead. Like, and they will support them for like 3 to 4 years. Like, it's crazy. So, Avatar, anybody who doesn't understand that this is a good reference from Hero, Avatar is going to. A lot of people were like, man, I really wish it was third person. So, again, anybody who knows anything about game development knows getting a game that was first person to go third person is an insane endeavor. Most games that are first person, the character models and stuff for your character aren't even generated in the traditional sense in the game world. So like there's no rigging and all this other stuff done that's done because the character you can't see the character. So like famously, like people had done like a third person mod for Cyberpunk, and it looked weird because, of course, they didn't model your character while you're playing because you're not supposed to see the character. Um, so it looked really crazy. So for them to go back, literally include all this DLC that they've done, which has been tremendous. This game looks absolutely insane. I got to play it on my 4090. One of the few games that definitely was like, man, it was really worth having a 4090. Like the game looks insane. But again, Avatar is going to get a massive update where they are going to add a third person mode, and this is not a third person option where it's like something like Fallout or Skyrim and stuff where you could just it's really meant to be played in first person, but there is a third person option. This is like full on. Last of Us, Spider Man, like actually third person full rigging. Like they took over a year to develop this and stuff. Like they were doing a ton of stuff. Um, so yeah, shout out to them for going the next mile for a lot of this stuff. Um,
So what you're telling me is finally my turn to play the game.
yeah, I mean this is it. There's no time like the present. Um, Morgan often says a lot of people who are behind uh, are benefiting because a lot of people who play games late they're not getting to some of these titles until the definitive edition or whatever comes out. So again, I get Sega's concern, um, but they're also not the only ones, right? A ton of these games get DLC, all this other stuff, a bunch of quality of life changes, and then they come out with a complete edition. So yeah, they're not the only ones. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna tell you some people aren't waiting because some people will wait, for the sky to fall till they do something. So yeah, is someone out there waiting? I'm sure they are, absolutely. But I don't know. We'll see what you guys think. So, Omar, you were already
The problem with this,
commenting. So, is this something that you're even thinking about when this stuff comes up? Omar, you.
oh, you were asking me. Sorry. Um. So look, I love gaming day one. I absolutely do. Taking point, spoken. Too bad Weber is not here. He could literally attest to this because it happened to him. I bought Lost Aside. I didn't play it day one, and every time I watch, I'm on Twitter. I'm seeing update after update after update after update for the game. So another game, Callisto Protocol. We all beat it. We all complained. We all said what would make it better. And what happened? A year in, 6 months in, I forgot the exact timing, and they revamped everything. So then you're legit sitting stuck between a rock and a hard place. Would you rather wait and put yourself at risk to getting spoiled story wise, everything wise, while you play something else? Or would you rather be day one buyer and player and then, not to say regret it, but more like be frustrated that after you already beat the game, look what they did. Like they did it with what you call it with Yote. I beat the game, I'm done with it, and now they're giving me the ability to have a bear. I at some point you gotta ask yourself, which one would you rather? And look, I love day one. I absolutely love day one. But it's just not fair to us, dude. Like, we're literally the people that are supporting them day one. And we're the ones that getting fucked up at the end. But then the people that don't support them day one and buy it later down the road with discount, mind you. I'm not shaming these people. I'm trying to explain something. These people are getting rewarded. So it feels backward, you know? It legit does feel like that. It's and it's not like they can give you discount if you bought it day one and you want the definitive version. You should be allowed to have a discount if you can prove that you own the original, which it should be doable on console. Um, it just yeah, it's legit frustrating. Um, it I don't think the only solution that I can think of is delay a game to have everything be ready and put it out then. But sadly, that don't work like that. Cause we literally had a dev, an actual dev, talk about how one team is working on a game while the other team is working on a DLC, an update. So yeah, it's frustrating. I'm not gonna lie, it's frustrating. You gotta decide yourself what is day one, what is not day one for you. And I legit don't see a solution for this one. I legit don't. Because at the end of the day, if you don't buy games, what you call it, people get laid off and all that jazz. But if you do buy the game and then later it become better and you already beat it, like I kind of feel like I got robbed, you know? Yeah, I'm rambling too much. I legit have no answer to this question.
I mean, the reality is there's no perfect answer. It's up to you,
Yeah,
and when
this is
it's
the
up to
issue.
you, and when you want to play the game, and accepting what you get when you play a game day one, right? Like, I mean, one of the prime examples of this was one that a lot of us played pretty early, which was the Star Wars Outlaws, right? Both Weeb and Morgan went for the platinum, um, and
Oh
both,
yeah, they overhauled the gameplay completely.
yeah, they changed a ton of stuff. The stealth instant failure mechanic was removed. She can now carry weapons to a certain degree.
Another,
Like there's
another
a bunch
game
of
I
stuff
can
that was
think of
changed.
is Final Fantasy 15. 15.
I mean, that
You
game was
couldn't,
literally unfinished. So yeah, that's
you
all.
couldn't, you couldn't uh, go anywhere outside of the road. You had to play as Noctis. If you died with as Noctis, you literally became a game over. Like, at some, but that's the thing. If you put regulation, if you allow the government to step in and prevent this from happening, we're gonna have a way difficult uh, issue, w- other difficult problems. So we can't win no matter what we do with this one. We're screwed, basically.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, ultimately at the end of the day, you got to decide what you want to play day one and what you don't.
Yeah,
There's never a perfect answer. As much as you said we get screwed, I've benefited tremendously from playing some games before they modify them. I've managed to get things or
yeah.
have certain things unlock early or all kinds of,
Like Mayel,
yeah, all
like with
kinds of fortunate
Mayel,
things. Yeah,
you
the whole
got
thing with Mael,
yeah,
where they modified the damage later, so I got to benefit and play with the
Kana,
increased damage. Kana, people got the
Kana.
platinum. Yeah, so there's a
For
bunch of
Kana
stuff.
had a difficulty. If you did it before the patch, you didn't need to play the game on the hardest difficulty to get the platinum, which I actually did. So there is a benefit for playing day one, but there is a benefit of waiting. Like legit, there is no good answer to this one.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, the way I always tell people, you got to decide for yourself. Like, there's just some games I'm not missing day one. Like, period.
Yeah,
I'm not promised tomorrow, and I'm not waiting for maybe. So,
it's crazy, yeah? You waited what 6, 7 years for the game to come out, only to think, oh yeah, I'm gonna wait later. No, no, dude, I'm day one on this one.
yeah, like I'm not waiting anymore at that point. Um, so yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Um, Here it says what I've learned with myself: risk playbook, slow to play, most games day one. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. And I mean, again, like I said, like there's certain titles that I think all of us are gonna get. Like I know Henry plays certain games. I know Hero we'll play certain games. And then there's some games I definitely tell people you definitely don't need to wait. Like right now, in one of the group chats I'm in, some of the guys hadn't played Dispatch, and some of them are just now getting to it. But basically, we recommended like basically the entire chat just hurry up and play Dispatch because that is a game that can obviously be spoiled for you. Um, and so that everybody can kind of have that discussion. And also, it's not really one of those games that's going to really be modified later either. So like nothing is really going to change with Dispatch. So again, that's like definitely a game where you want to get in that kind of that day one vibe. Weeb, has this affected you in any way where you feel like you want to wait, or you're just like, hey, I know what I like, I know what I want day one, I don't care.
Um, yes, I do generally don't care. As I said, there are games I won't wait for for one more second until it comes out. So yeah, um, have been like the last couple of Mortal Kombat games I've bought. I waited until the Ultimate Edition came out because like they're doing this every single time. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you're basically paying twice, triple the purchase price of the game with all the expansions that you have to buy to get all the characters. So you can just wait until the Ultimate Edition comes out. You pay the same price as the original game, plus you get all DLC. Like, yeah, I get the dilemma that Sega and other developers probably have is that yeah, if you're gonna do this every single time, then yes, people are gonna be trained to wait if they want to get the Ultimate Edition. Because yeah, I mean, I get it. Like essentially you feel kind of cheated that you bought it day one and they're basically telling you to buy it again to get the extra content. And generally there's like I think Persona 5 added a character that wasn't in the original game. I even like a game series that me and Omar like very much, the East series. Like after the latest entry came out, they announced, "Oh yeah, we're releasing a special edition of this game with some extra content that you have to buy again, and it doesn't carry over, so it's not DLC. You have to buy this game again and play it again, and to just for that extra content." And like, yeah, that sucks because I bought this game, played it day one because I'm a huge fan of the series, and yes, I don't want to wait. But this was like a first a first time for this series to do that. 'Cause I've not seen them doing this before. So yeah, that was a surprise for me. And yeah, that might give you pause because in this case, like they announced it like almost right after they released the game. So like you could have like it could have waited a bit longer and maybe decide, okay, yeah, is it worth holding on until yeah that special edition drops and you have some extra content. Yeah, and then I would have to decide still if I want to do that. But yeah, you didn't give me that option because you did something that normally you don't do. But yeah, with series from Sega, particularly from Atlas, yeah, they're literally training you to do that. So I'm not surprised, and that's kind of the thing is like yeah, you have a choice. I mean, I think they probably would do better if it's just story DLC stuff like that that you just release this, that people can just pay to upgrade, right? That you don't have to buy the entire game again. But I guess that's something they have to figure out now if it's worth the drop in sales of the game day one um, versus the additional sales you might get for having people buy the game again. But yeah, that's kind of the problem. It is not, I would say, very pro consumer to do so because yeah, I mean that's what you're doing. You're letting people pay twice for something they already bought for something they supported you with, and then you're screwing them over saying, yeah, you need to buy it again just to get access to some downloadable content. So yeah, yeah, I don't like the practice. I understand why you're doing it, but I don't like it. Um, I suppose there are two different because Omar was talking about games that were kind of broken at the start or had some serious issues that didn't make a lot of fun to play, and then they fixed that later on and made the game better. Like take Assassin's Creed Unity is also a perfect example. The game is broken from the start, and then they fixed it. As it runs like a charm, but yeah, it's built too little, too late. Because yeah, if you play it day one, you're probably not gonna go back to it. And if you yeah didn't, you have the um, advantage of being able to play it as it was intended, I suppose. But like I was one of the people who was able to play it as intended, but that was after I finished Syndicate, and then for me it was like, okay, but I'm playing the exact same missions that you had in Syndicate, but they were better because they were involved more in a later iteration of the series, and that kind of ruined it for me because, like, yeah, I'm not sure I want to play essentially the prototype version of this game, even though you fixed it. Like, it was a gorgeous game, but it was in the end. Yeah, I couldn't be bothered. That's kind of the problem. Yeah, if you fix a game later, you might not get a second chance because people are have already moved on. To the next thing that's scratching their itch. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, I guess that's kind of a completely different conversation because yeah, there's a risk that indeed, as you mentioned, that you might get miss out a lot of conveniences. Like I mean, even with like Ghost of Yotei, I think in the new Game Plus they added an option to pick up all the pickup stuff. Uh, would have been very convenient to have that. In my first playthrough. But yeah, on the other hand, like yeah, you would have been missing out on that game. And that's kind of the thing is, aside from spoilers, there's also a question of time management. Like, yeah, I had the time at that point in time to invest fully in a massive game like Yote. But yeah, if I had waited, it might have been and packed between like maybe now will be fine, but like say if it was February next year, that's already extremely crowded. Dragon Quest Seven reimagined, Yakuza 3, Kiwami. So there's so many games coming out. This have come out this year and coming out next year. That's going to be literally impossible to um, yeah, make a plan where you say, okay, yeah, sure, I'm gonna wait and they'll have all the time in the world to play. Because if you can wait, then you probably it's probably not your highest priority at that point in time. You don't want to play this day and date. Fine. Then there is a good chance that once you do, or once you are able to play it as was intended, that you might have something else that you do want to play day and date. So um, yeah, I mean, it, there is, as Omar said, no right answer to this, but just I'd say the practice at least for first of all, you should obviously release a game that's functional, that's complete. Like should not drop it if it's riddled with bugs and unplayable because you're not going to get a second chance, and you should not, yeah, or at least you should make it easier to get any downloadable content without having to repurchase the game. And yeah, if you're if that's what you're doing, obviously that's gonna people are gonna expect that, and yeah, well, your sales is gonna suffer. So yeah, it's a choice they've made, and yeah, they gotta live with it, I guess. So yeah, those are my 2 cents.
Cool. Yeah, no, I'm kind of in the same boat. Yeah, like you said, if you're not playing it day one, I mean, like you said, it's probably not your highest priority, stuff like that. Like you just got to kind of make your own choices, right? Um, I think that's probably the more important thing about this, and less about particularly someone stopping or whatnot. Because I mean, honestly, if Persona 6 looks as good as it's gonna, like I'm anticipating, then yeah, I don't see 5 million sales in the first month being a problem. So yeah, I get the concern from them, but I feel like this is a concern with any studio. Um, like I said, we've had the conversation where there's general updates to games and quality of life changes. Those happen a lot. But then again, we've also had games come out day one and like they don't really change, right? So it's just like again, it's you got to kind of make your choices about what you want to play, when and where, and how to proceed. I'm sure Warhammer is probably a good example. The I can't even remember. There's so many Warhammer games at this point, but Warhammer 2, but I forget like the full name of it. The one that came out this year or whatever. Like that one has had a massive ton of updates, um, but most of them are pertaining to like the co-op mode or whatever that came out a little bit later that people kind of got into. Um, Again, a bunch of stuff added, a bunch of quality of life changes. Like it's just some games are just going to update that like that all the time. Some games will never. Like I said, I think it's less of an issue, and I get what they're saying, but like you're never not going to have these updates happen, right? And I kind of rather have them than not have them, right? Because for me, it extends the life and almost breathes new life into some of these titles, right? Like I didn't even finish SMT5 before SMT5 Vengeance because honestly, I just didn't really like it. I thought it was boring. And then I beat SMT5 Vengeance because it made that big of a difference, and the new route was that much more interesting. So, and again, I the time constraints and some of the non-quality of life things that were not in the original Persona 5 is why I don't recommend the regular Persona 5 to new people. I only recommend Royale. Um, so again,
But you gotta buy Royale, even if you own 5. That's my biggest issue. Like, early adopters are fucked. You don't get uh,
I mean that's what I'm saying.
a
If their
discount or
concern
whatsoever.
if their concern is people hesitating, then they can offer an update to users at a reduced price
This,
who already
this,
have the title.
this,
I'm fine with that.
this.
Yeah, like I mean, honestly, I think that's the only way to do it, right? Because again,
That's how you combat alienating early adopters.
yeah, like the issue is that if you're doing enough work, right, that warrants a new edition, um, and like I said, a lot of these games definitely do. Like I said, Persona 5 has an entire new arc with a new character that wasn't even there. They added a
Yeah,
bunch more demons into the game, a bunch more of the personas.
new
They
story,
new story, new mini games, new everything.
new
Like
everything. Yeah.
yeah, so it's worth the name Persona 5 Royale. But like I said, if their concern is alienating people, give people that reduced rate. Hey, this new game for new users, you can cop it brand new at the new price, and for people who bought our game, at the height, when it first released, we're gonna offer you the update for $10 to $15 or something or whatever, right? Cool. And I think that would kind of fix their issue that they're concerned about, and I think would stem a lot of people stem that issue so they could really see how big it really is, right? Like, yeah, it's not that much of an issue for me because I know what games we're talking about. Like Hero was saying, he locked in his day one 2026 games already. I pretty much know what most of my day one games 2026 will be already, right? Obviously, we're getting release dates for some games. We're kind of locking some things in. Um, and seeing what's really going to make 2026. And then we just kind of go from there. Um, and then some games, they're not even 2026 and they're already day one. You know, games that are definitely into the future. Intergalactic is going to be day one. I have no idea when that game's coming out. Witcher 4, again, day one, whenever it comes out. So yeah, some games it's like I don't care. And they all get complete editions and all that other stuff. So yeah, that's definitely not stopping me. But yeah, I think the biggest thing they could do is just offer a bonus to people who have day one and stop that day one, fear of missing out. But yeah, but speaking of Sega and keeping it with Sega, the director for Metaphor Refantasio, um, Katsura Hashino, stated um, that he is looking to move the JRPG genre, entering what he calls its third iteration. JRPG 3.0 is what he is calling it. So he went on to state, um, basically the old school ones that we all kind of witnessed were JRPG 1.0, and then JRPGs in their current state are JRPG 2.0. Um, and I mean, he basically stated in the interview, I could pull it up here. Um, there it is. So speaking at a Korean game conference, G-Star 2025, Metaphor Refantasio and modern Persona director Katsura Hashino says that JRPG genre is entering its third iteration he calls JRPG 3.0. During the talk called When Experience Becomes Memory, which I thought that was brilliant because we talk about stuff like that all the time, where we talk about games that are an experience that kind of never leave you, that you always remember. So I thought that was a fitting title for this conversation. Designing lasting impressions through art and structure with art director Shinori Sojima, and Hashino discusses where he sees the future of the JRPG genre. During the talk, which was reported by 4Gamer, Hashino discusses how the genre has evolved through the ages. He separates JRPGs into three eras. JRPG 1.0 is the style of JRPGs of the past. JRPG 2.0 represents games of the present. And JRPG 3.0 embodies the JRPG yet to come. As translated by Games Radar, Hashino says JRPG 1.0 includes the true classics. He doesn't name specific examples, but JRPGs are one of the longest enduring genres, with games like Dragon Quest existing since 1986 and Final Fantasy seeing new entries since 1987. He says that the genre split into its second iteration with its current style, which feels higher quality due to how much more responsive they are to the player. He does say, however, most interesting part of Hashino's speech was his description of the next generation of JRPGs. He isn't sure what JRPG 2.0 he says he isn't sure what JRPG 3.0, as he calls it, will look like, but he hopes his next game will be a part of the new iteration on the genre. According to the article, he believes there will be a greater dimension to these games, and they'll change the genre structure and presentation at a fundamental level. So yeah, so this will be kind of interesting to visit and kind of understand as the genre pushes forward. We've kind of had this discussion. So we've seen some games kind of come from globally to kind of jump into that genre, right? The JRPG genre, without being, the whole discussion of is a JRPG from Japan, the whole thing. But kind of as turn-based games and other stuff has become kind of more global and not just getting it from one area or having to depend specifically on Japanese creators to get RPGs of a certain type. I mean, it's definitely evolving, right? Expedition 33 being a big point of contention and discussion for people, right? But as the new things do show up, you get these polarizing or changing mechanics, right? Prime example, right? We were having a discussion in our Discord where, one of the guys in our chat, he's a big JRPG person, right? And he picked up Expedition 33 on sale. It's like $35 or whatever. And he's like 6 hours
He's
in
not
or
vibing with
something.
it.
Yeah, and he said he wasn't feeling it. And it's like, all right, cool. Like, you won't be the only one. You won't be the last. Uh, Again, like, it's not a problem. Like, if you're just not
He
feeling it,
called
you're
it
not feeling it.
overrated, which is funny. It
Yeah,
does feel that way, so yeah.
but the problem is like I said, like the big thing I think that's important for people to from a gamer perspective, as far as this stuff goes, and as evolutions do take place and things change, just kind of know yourself as a gamer, right? This is where I always try to explain this to people. It's like, uh, yes, the creators are going to create, and they're going to create a lot of different iterations, a lot of different versions of stuff, but you got to know what you like as a gamer, and kind of know when to jump in, right? Like, he jumped in at a reduced rate. If you don't like it, cool. You didn't really burn that much cash to begin with, cool. Like, if you're not feeling it, drop it to the side. Like, we're all gonna try something.
25 is nothing compared to 50, so yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's
what I'm
not
saying.
like he didn't put the. He put 6 hours, I think 6 or 5 hours in, so he genuinely played it, and it just didn't gripe him,
Yeah,
grab
I
him.
think the only thing
Which,
I disagree with in his statement is like, again, and this is I've talked to this person, so I know the way that they tend to speak.
oh yeah, we interact with them
Um,
like we're not coming out of merit or
no,
something. We
but what
are
I'm saying
just,
is people want to be careful using words like overrated when you haven't
hey,
gotten all
that's
that
how we
far.
feel. So what you
That
gonna
they're
do?
not. Hold on, you can feel negative. What I'm talking about is using a term like overrated. People, because I'm talking about using terms incorrectly. Like, you feel it's overrated because you're not vibing with it. What you need to say is you're not liking the game. You can just state that. You don't have to use the term. Just like people who you really love the game, you also don't need to use the term peak or whatever. Like, gamers are kind of getting stuck
Yeah, we
in
we
in
we
a,
label things too quick. We label
in
things too quick.
well, they're getting stuck in reduced
Absolutely.
vocabulary, and you're failing to explain the thing. So what explains better what his issue is when he explains what the issue is. Saying a game is overrated is not helpful.
So
What is helpful
he need to say
is
why is it
yeah,
overrated in his opinion.
he elaborated what his issue was. He's not vibing with uh
Combat
the
basically,
combat
the
mechanics.
dodging and stuff like that.
Yeah, and
He's
again,
stuck
a ton of
basically.
people have had that issue with the game all over the
In my
place.
opinion, he's stuck in his own way basically. He's a dinosaur, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, like that's not going to be the only game to implement that kind of stuff, right? I seen somebody like everybody thought everyone loved Sea of Stars, right? When I just saw somebody the
I
other
love
day,
that. I can need to play the DLC. You reminded me.
yeah, somebody the other day was just commenting on Sea of Stars and how much they didn't like it. Um,
Kobe is one of them, which I need to beat him up for, because he is such a JRPG fan.
yeah, and I
So
mean,
yeah,
I don't disagree, right? Like, I'm not done with the game,
yeah, you didn't
but
vibe with it at all, eh?
I'm also not loving Sea of Stars either. There's certain
So
aspects of Sea of Stars that I like its art direction, its music, so on and so forth. And I'll finish it eventually, but there were certain choices that they made that, of course, made it more negative for me. In particular, like I said, I don't like when games limit me, like hard cap or limit me um, in certain aspects. Like, I love to over level, or I love to be level 99 or whatever, and kind of make that climb. So when games do stuff like, well, limit you to level 30, like that game does, like that kind of throws off my whole thing because, well, I focused a lot on that and then I hit the max level. So again, like, it's interesting when he in particular in this talk talks about, 3.0 and what that could entail, right? Um, he doesn't specifically describe it, right, but he does say, he thinks they'll feel higher quality and be more responsive to the player. I do agree with that last part. Obviously all this stuff is up to interpretation, but one of the big problems that I've stated with JRPGs for the longest time is that, yes, while you have the people who love them, there are quality of life changes and things that you can make that won't inherently change the genre, but will make them more accessible to people. Kind of like we were saying earlier, right? Time management and all these other things, right? You don't need to make it grindy, right? People are like, oh, I love the grind. Oh, this, that, and so with the grind. It's like, it's all you know. Like, yeah, we talk about that, but like realistically, people have been coming up with ways to shorten the grind in JRPGs for years. You know,
Including themselves, including companies themselves now, by adding the what you call it, the uh, that fast time 2, time 3 option. But
yeah, I
mostly
mean,
they do them with smaller titles or a remake or a remaster. Like, do it. Like I've said it. What you're talking about, I have always said it when it comes to JRPG. Give me the ability to switch uh, money to XP, more XP, or more XP to more money. Something like that. Make it so that if I want to grind, I can grind. If I just want to make money so I can buy the item that I want, I can do that. While I'm the opposite of you. While you love to overlevel being a whale, I love being a midget fighting a Goliath and beating it by outsmarting the game. That's my jam. So the fact that I get what we call it fucked over by just wanting money, I need to overlevel. It it shouldn't be the case. And for you, if you want to overlevel, it should also not be the case that you need to grind so much. I do believe they should find a way to balance it out. But sadly, they don't like to do that. I don't know. It feels like developers are stuck in the past. They're afraid of experimenting.
well, and that's kind of to his point, right, about them being more responsive to the player. I think one of the biggest things that I've stated for a long time that has stopped a ton of people I know who have even at least been interested in JRPGs is knowing how long they are and the fact that they felt like they'd have to grind. Because again, JRPG fans for the longest time are so used to that they expect that, and a lot of them revel in that. But the question is like, really, why, right? Like recently, the Octopath Traveler Zero director came out, and he was kind of setting some things straight, some concerns, because he was like, oh, you can just play the game straight through and you don't have to grind, you know and I agree, that's exactly how they should be. I've been talking about the balance issues in JRPGs for a long time that turn off a lot of potential fans because of the grind, and I can't like argue with people on that, right? Like if I've come up with ways to get around some of the more annoying or tedious things, right? In some of the games that I play, right? To the point where they don't bother me, right? But I can't expect everybody else to do that. Like I've done certain things in games like where hell, even prime example, Expedition 33, which I think is phenomenally balanced for the record, because I could have beat the game way sooner, right? But I wanted to grind. I wanted to go crazy, and they gave me that option. And when I finally got to the Paintress, I was a monster. You know what I'm saying? I was a
You
freaking
what now?
kaiju. Yeah, like I showed up as a kaiju and beat the brakes off her. But that was my
Yeah.
option, right? Other people beat the game and got to her around level 40 or 50 ish. I was level 88 when I fought the
What?
Paintress. Um, so, I made that choice. I found a place where I like to grind. I listened to an audiobook and I
Oh,
grinded. I grinded
you.
for like 2 days. I went ham.
Oh, you. Chat, I need to stress it enough. The pain stress to me was my first or second roadblock. She is legit difficult, and this dude whooped her like there is no tomorrow. Like, damn,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I definitely smacked her up. Um, but yeah, I mean, again, I think the freedom of playing like that is what is important, right? That game. So whether you like the game or not, what's important in that discussion is the balancing of that game, and that's something that I definitely think.
Which
Uh,
is why I said, if now you had the ability to turn off money and add more XP, it would have shortened your grind time.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, they also. I'm talking about the inherent balance. So you're talking about getting specific once you're trying to do something, but the inherent balance is what they've always had an issue with, where I should be able to just play the game, go from play the main story, and not feel like I have to grind as long as I'm playing the game correctly. And they've had a bad time doing that as opposed to Western RPGs. You could just play the game straight through if you wanted to. Although obviously their side quests are usually more elaborate and so on and so forth, and more choice driven. But there's never been a time where I'm like, oh, I can't do this in a WRPG because I didn't go grind for 45 hours. Again, like I said, that was a choice in Expedition. That game is a prime example of good balancing. Um, and some JRPGs have gotten really good at it, right? They don't all require a grind, right? Outside of like a super boss or something like that. But again, that is a choice. The super boss is usually something extra, or super bosses
Yeah,
where you don't have to. And those I understand needing to go make the climb to 99 or whatever the
yeah,
max
like
is.
that's what I did with 33. I didn't grind for anything outside the final boss, the secret boss, which was my choice to grind that much for them.
Yeah,
But outside of that, the game was for the most part tame. I do think, in my opinion, 33 is gonna, if people wanna be genuine legit developers, wanna be legit, they should use 33 as an example. Because 33, I know it's not a JRPG game, but it kills a lot of JRPG tropes that people hate. Slow start, grinding, um, what else? Like stuff like that. Like
I do agree. They do need, some of them do need to kill a slow start. It has turned off way too many people.
like
Like, yeah,
how like you get a demo for a JRPG game, you know for a fact the opening is gonna be 5 hours minimum.
yeah. I mean, I had to warn Morgan, who was considering and asking me about the Trail series at one point, that if she played Cold Steel, then basically be prepared
Oh
for Cold Steel 1 to basically all just be the opening. Like Cold Steel 1 is basically just one big opening.
yeah, but basically, but this is literally what a franchise that have a game connected or something,
It
right?
has a like it's like 11 or 12 games at this point. It's
Yeah,
insane.
so that's an outliner, so I don't think that's a fair assessment, but I understand you. She wanted, she wants Costille.
Yeah, you just like I said, they definitely just got to be careful with certain things. I mean, I'm interested to see what happens. Obviously, they're all having discussions with each other. I think the increased communication between Japanese developers is really important. Like I said, Kojima also spoke about this at length about Japanese developers as a whole, not specifically just JRPG developers, about them needing to embrace certain quality of life changes and other things. He stated, they're typically behind when it comes to transitioning to a new generation, and so on and so forth. And, there's a lot to be learned. I think I've seen a lot more openness with them engaging, like I said, with the expedition team. realizing a lot of the benefits and things that they've done. Again, this is not to state them taking those games exactly, right? But looking at the good, looking at something that it did, taking inspiration from that, the way they took inspiration from their games and made Expedition, right? Um,
I think it.
essentially an homage to games that they grew up with and loved the same way I did. I've seen a lot of great things in Expedition that I grew up with that they stated that those were the games that inspired them, right? And you keep inspiring each other in a circle, and like
Mhm.
it's important to take those things and incorporate them into these new titles, into these new things going forward. Because ultimately, yeah, this genre does need to grow. I'm not going to be I hate I love JRPGs, but I certain people in the fandom are here to hold it back.
Not too much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like,
I
yeah,
I
I'm not
think
doing that.
I think what 33 did, it showcased to developers that it's okay to experiment. It's okay to go out of the box and do something unique. Yes, you might lose a few people here and there, but you're gonna win a lot more audience, in my opinion. And I truly believe the next JRPG that's gonna come out is gonna have a lot of 33 influence.
Yeah, I mean, I
Whether
think they'll take a lot from a lot of things, but I think more so what they'll do is like I said, respecting your time is a good way that I talk about quality of life changes as they need to take place in certain games. um Part of that is that balancing that I stated. Like someone should be able to play your game start to finish from one area to the next without needing to grind and simply beat the game if that's what they want to do. Like, and I think some of them definitely need to kind of learn that lesson and uh, give that opportunity. And not that they're not right. I think Octopath Traveler 2 was a great example. Octopath Traveler 2 was amazing. It still has the super boss. It don't get no more JRPG than that. They created a incredibly complex job system with a bunch of intricacies and all kinds of stuff that you could do. But you could also kind of play the game straight through. It was going to be tougher, um, when you get to certain enemies and stuff because you didn't, grind a little bit or you didn't go out of your way to get certain things. But basically, it could be as hard or as easy as you kind of wanted it to be, and that, but without losing its complexity, is what I think is important, right? Like, I don't want to overly simplify a game just because. And I think that's where for me, Final Fantasy 16 made a major mistake.
yep,
They overcorrected, like they turned the wheel on that ship so hard they overcorrected by like 100 nautical miles. Whether you like the combat or not, I don't give a shit. You can like Devil May Cry Wannabe 5.0 all you want, but besides the combat, no one can argue. Not even the people who like it, because I've seen the posts, and they always hide it in the post where they're talking about it later. But they all agree that the game is severely RPG element anemic. Like the game basically has little to none. The weapons don't matter. The weapons have name like the Windblade, whatever, the Windblade of the Dragon, and have nothing to do with wind or whatever. There's no elemental damage. There's none of this other stuff that is within the realm of an RPG that should be there. The stats are not there. Like nothing is there that screams this is an RPG. Like like having a solid story or whatever is not enough. So I definitely think they need to be careful going forward to not lose the essence of what a JRPG is, so on and so forth, while implementing some of these quality of life changes and respecting our time with some of these changes. I think they can both coexist really well, and I think we've gotten some good examples of this already. I think in what he was saying, I think because I mean the other thing with some of these creators, you got to remember they don't play a lot of the other games either. Um, Expedition was one of the just standouts that a lot of them seem to have played. Um, but a lot of them don't play like Octopath or something. They might see it, they might hear about it, but a lot of them don't play it. So I definitely think some of the stuff that he's talking about is probably in some of these titles already. But I'm interested to see what he does with Persona 6 because I mean, obviously, he stated he wants it in his next game, and their next game is definitely Persona 6. So hopefully, uh, what comes of this is going to be something amazing. We obviously you play a lot of these games with us as well. Um, what do you kind of see? Uh, I guess being something that you would want to see more of from a quality standpoint, kind of to his point of what he's stating here, what you would consider maybe an evolution or something to the genre you'd like to see more common, kind of like what we were talking about, reducing the grind requirement in some of these games. Is there anything in particular that stands out for you, Weeb?
Um, well, the grind is not necessarily an issue for me with JRPGs because there are ways to do it where it's fun. I don't mind that oh yeah you're just because in general it's not like they're having you grind for an hour. Like they might, oh yeah, you're just not high enough, so beat a couple of enemies and then go back and the level is fine, right? Um, so I don't think that's a particular thing they will be high on my list for them to fix. But yeah, sure, there are plenty of things um, that varies across different JRPGs because not all of them are doing the same things well or wrong. Um, I'd say like the I mean it's sort of a list of pet peeves, right? The dumb
Mm-hmm.
things like they're they're overloading you with tutorials like right at the start, and they're all text,
Yeah,
and they're and you can't really look them up afterwards, and they're just gonna dump all of the different mechanics like right from the start instead of easing you in. Like there's certain things that they can definitely improve where they need to put in more thought in, I guess, in UI and how they more gradually introduce concepts to players instead of just dumping it on them and yeah, go figure it out and make sure you remember that for later on, which might be a Japanese thing because the Japanese education system famously is based on repetition and memorization. So might very well be that they're acting from that perspective, which doesn't quite vibe with Western audiences. I mean, I'm just spitballing here. I don't know if that's actually the reason they're doing it, but I mean, and the thing is like this is a thing with any developer, not just Japanese developers. They might
mm-hmm.
just not have thought too much about certain things where they're just think, oh yeah, it should be fine, and that's what you hear a lot of developers saying it like, okay, like yeah, we thought this was very intuitive and people would figure it out, and then we did some play tests and people were just doing the exact opposite of what we wanted them to do. So we need to paint some yellow paint on uh, you know, climbable surfaces and stuff like that because we figured out people, yeah, weren't able to figure that out intuitively. Um, I think that JRPGs in that sense can learn, on one hand, to be a bit more less you know text exponent more say don't yeah, show don't tell, right? Like you
Agree.
don't have to explicitly explain everything in text, but just have it gradually happen, have people see what's intended of them, and then yeah, then proceed. Yeah, but there's so many like I think like Persona, perfect example of a fantastic turn-based combat system, but there's also plenty of JRPGs that just make it too complicated. Like I couldn't quite jive with the Trails of Blue Sky remake gameplay because I couldn't quite figure out what they wanted to do. I have
Mm-hmm.
issues with plenty of Final Fantasy games where they're just like, okay, but you had a working system, the last time, or why are you completely trying to change it now?
Yeah.
And it's like almost you're trying too hard to make it different, and then it just it gets convoluted instead of making it fun. I think that's probably a lot of I think Square particular has an issue where there's a bit of overindulgence. We've had the discussion about before about the mini games of Rebirth.
Oh
Um,
God, bro. Yeah, that drove me nuts.
yeah, but I think they're playing. I think especially the bigger ones are very at risk of living in a bubble, right? That
Mm-hmm.
um, they don't quite they're not right, quite in touch with how gamers experience their games, right? They're working years on the game. They scrap it and reboot it. Like especially again, that's typical Square Enix where they just spend 10 years on the game and still release it. Which kudos to them for actually doing it. But on the other hand, you can also see that they're just not really um, sort of in tune with with their audience, and instead of like when they receive feedback like, oh yeah, but next time we're gonna add even more mini games, dude, like who are you talking to? What, aren't you listening? And then they're you see them being very reactive to the to like saying, oh yeah, yeah, didn't meet our expectations because our expectations were way too high because we spent too much money on this, and
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, we blame we didn't use too much. Uh, Enough AI, or or we should put NFTs in the games. Like, remember those? Yeah,
Yeah, they were floundering for a minute there with that.
yeah. I mean, and that's exactly. I mean, and it's not just them, of course. And there's plenty of Western developers and publishers have done the same thing. Um, but it's certainly, I think, a trapping, a risk that they have. Um, but there's so many again examples of games that do it well, and there's not really one sort of size fits all. There's not like, okay, if you do this, then your game will be great. No, often these small things, and the thing is like if the game is great, then some small annoyances like a bit of grind or yeah, annoying tutorials or whatever, they're not going to deter you from finishing that game or appreciating that game as one of the greats that you've ever played. Yeah, so it's very relative, but yeah, there's certain things that they could. Thing is like when somebody says, "Oh yeah, we're gonna evolve the genre," like I'm kind of worried because they might just throw the baby out with the bathwater and say, "Yeah, but you had something that was working." Like I have mentioned Final Fantasy 16. I can't imagine that, and probably they did say something like, "Oh yeah, we're sort of evolving the genre," and no, you're not. You're devolving the genre. You're just making it so streamlined and so mainstream that it basically is a a shadow of its former self. Like that's not you overshot the mark. You didn't really cater to anybody with this, and that's so what I'm worried about when they're saying that, because you have something that's working, right? Like, and yes, like I'm not a fan of the sort of time management aspects of the Persona games. Like I would have preferred for it. I don't like that because it means that I have to look up optimal strategies for, and sure, if you want to get plans in the game, you generally will have to look up things, make sure that you don't miss anything. But I rather just want a game that at least lets me experience it at my own pace, because I love to do all the side quests and explore, and yeah, I'm kind of uh, I feel hampered if I have to follow a strict schedule and everything costs time, and so I could literally make the wrong choices that put me at a disadvantage by the end of the game. And, but again, that's very specific to this series. Like plenty of JRPGs don't have that. Um, but I mean, and there's so many that work. Like they're gonna re-release Tales of Berseria, and Tales of Berseria is my favorite Tales game because the story is so good. But that's sort of a Tales game. Yeah, kind of falls or succeeds with how good the stories, and generally the stories are good for most of them. So that's not even something that they have to concern them with, except for Arise, and I know that's the one that you like the most. But for me, Arise is yeah, definitely a step up in terms of how it looks and how it plays, but it kind of misses the mark with me with story. Like it had for me, it had like the same feeling that you had for Final Fantasy 16, but then on the story aspect, where it's like they streamlined it too much to the point where it doesn't surprise me. It's very predictable. It didn't have me. Uh, yeah, at the edge of my seat. Like with Berseria, like if you've never experienced that story, get it like next year when the remaster comes, because boy, that was amazing. And that's sort of and the game isn't perfect by any extent of the imagination. I mean, it's still an old old engine, Tales series that doesn't have the slick graphics of Arise and doesn't have the refined combat that has, but it carries itself with the story. So I think if they sort of yeah combine that, I guess if they level it up, yes, with the combat, with the or the gameplay and sort of the the graphics uplift, and just to keep the soul intact, tell great stories, have well written characters, all the things that we love about it, then yeah, they can elevate it to the point where they can just get sidestep all the criticism that you hear for, oh yeah, it looks like a PS3 game, or yeah, I don't like turn based, those kind of people. I mean, again, Expedition is a perfect example. It has a fantastic story. It looks great, even though it was made by a small studio, and it has incredibly fun gameplay. They did something with the turn-based genre where it roped in other people who generally didn't like turn-based RPGs, uh, but without sort of selling out, like without what Final Fantasy 16 did, is that yeah, okay, we're going to go full on almost character action, but not quite yet there. But yeah, just a very generic action RPG that didn't really cater to anybody. Uh,
Yeah.
which again is kind of the problem, that they do tend to um, be in a bubble, and then when things don't play out the way they thought it would, then they're overcorrect and they go completely in the opposite direction. And instead of just okay, check, okay, analyze, and talk to your fans, and like okay, what is it that you want, what how can we make this better. And sure, you should not never compromise your vision on what fans want, because then we just get slop. But you should definitely listen to feedback in terms of okay, what frustrates me, what could be better in terms of gameplay, what could be better in terms of UI, performance, etc. Like these kind of things they can be relatively objective, right? I mean, if a game has or unresponsive controls or lag, that's can be objectively measured. That's not a question of opinion,
Yeah.
and that's something you could do something with, and but yeah, don't compromise on story or characters just because fans wanted to go in a particular direction, because then it's just fan fiction, and that again you would not be serving anybody. So I guess in conclusion, yeah, they can definitely do things better. They should just be very careful to not not course correct too much and just go overboard and not and lose the fans that they build up across all these years, because yeah, we still want to make sure that they're JRPGs not suddenly decide, oh yeah, we're just gonna make them all, first person RPGs taking place in a post-apocalyptic world, because yeah, we're just gonna make everything Fallout, because that
Yeah.
apparently is what Western audiences want, No, that's not what you want. That's why you play JRPGs. So yeah.
Yeah, no. That's they definitely did that oversimplification. Like when I kept hearing like the phrasing during like Final Fantasy 16's development was okay, uh Western audiences want instant gratification. They want button mashing. Like that's basically what I heard. I was like, "What?" I was like, "What?" Like what gave you that idea like specifically? Um so yeah, I definitely think they oversimplified um that whole kind of notion, and like you said, over course corrected. So it definitely seems like they're paying it a little more attention now. But like you said, I do agree that sometimes, and again, this is a criticism not just from us, but other Japanese developers. Like I said, Kojima specifically being one who definitely seems to be more globally oriented, um, but where he stated, sometimes the danger of some of his fellow Japanese developers is being overly closed off, overly out of the loop, and then being shocked when they release a game and it doesn't hit. Because it's like, okay, well, you left this thing or you did this thing that you thought would be a hit, and it's like, but you overcorrected. So yeah, definitely some points to see what'll happen here in the future and see what kind of goes on. But yeah, so moving to um, the next thing here with uh, Call of Duty sales basically falling off a cliff. So it looks like Call of Duty is one of the things that's always talked about as being kind of like a something that is, it's too big to fail. Like we hear that all the time. People talk about that with varying franchises and varying different things. Um, and I mean, I've always warned people, nothing is technically too big to fail. You can always make a mistake. At one point, Destiny kind of felt that way for a lot of people, right? Like they were,
Overwatch.
yeah, they were
Remember
addicted.
Overwatch? One goatee, and then look what happened with Overwatch 2. Like, yeah, one big fuck up could result to it.
Yeah,
Like, Call of Duty wasn't even the first one to be on top. Before that, what was Medal of Honor, I think?
yeah, Medal of Honor was bigger first.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I mean, for so long, it was kind of like this franchise is so big they could do no wrong. Um, I mean, it was. I mean, like they were riding that high. And yeah, there are certain things you can get away with, right? Like there's certain things there's no alternative to, right? Like NBA 2K. Um, if you want to play a basketball game, that's all you really got. Um, and then so on and so forth. So it really just depends on the genre and so on and so forth that you're working with. But Call of Duty obviously has been the number one seller for God knows how long now, with the exception of when like a GTA releases or when they got outsold by Harry Potter, the Hogwarts Legacy, which was that was a glorious moment.
Yeah.
Um, but
I
yeah,
still can't believe we played that game. Was phenomenal.
it was. But yeah, that is a prime example of a game that when you stick to something and give people what they want, you can get some incredible results. Um, Unlike Call of Duty, which are again, ironically, right, like which shows you the developers are paying attention and all these things. Call of Duty finally did a bunch of changes that people wanted, right? But behind all that was some other things going on that they thought people wouldn't notice. The AI art being used in some of the game and some of its other assets. And like, there's a bunch of controversy and stuff going on with this game. Um, but a lot of people are noticing. And again, when you have competition finally, when you have other things vying for people's time, well, people can kind of forego your game at that point, right?
Yeah,
Battlefield 6 also came out before and is doing really well, still doing really well from what I understand. um,
there is Ark now.
yeah, arc raiders as well for extraction shooters. Again, you got a lot of things vying for people's time. When for a while there, COD literally had zero competition, which kind of let them get away with whatever they wanted. So again, now they're kind of reacting, removing skill-based matchmaking, and a couple other things that people really wanted to focus on getting a better COD experience, and then regardless, still faltering in the sales department, rightfully so. Because like I said, they failed to react to a lot of complaints of the series over the years, which companies tend to do, right? When they're not failing, as long as they're succeeding, as long as that dollar amount doesn't drop, they don't really pay attention, right? And that's the only real reason they paid attention now. Before the launch, because with Battlefield 6 and all this other competition, the basically the pre-orders were significantly lower than normal. And of course, now we know, looking at the sales, that they're about half of what they expected, apparently. Um, but yeah, I think this is a good example just to show, yeah, there's no such thing as quote unquote too big, too big to
To
fail.
fail.
Yeah, and then what people tend to mistake is kind of a monopoly. There are definitely monopolies or things like that where there's no alternative. Windows is one of those things, right? Um, if you want to basically game on PC, there's no real alternative as of yet, as far as maintaining a fully functional PC, being able to use, your web browser and all the other applications you need to do while also being able to game. Windows is pretty much the only game in town. And as a result of that, we've gotten a metric ton of problems with Windows over the years, including recently some that have been incredibly severe, like wiping drives and killing hard drives and SSDs, and all kinds of craziness has been going on with Windows lately, and they've constantly been breaking it. And a large part of that is, again, uh, some of the criticism with this, right? With Call of Duty, right? Using AI when they shouldn't be using AI to create run programs and so on and so forth, or create programs or do part of the coding when you don't understand it. Um, so yeah, definitely some of these companies got to be careful going forward and some of the decisions they make. What exactly will happen with COD? I mean, we don't know. I mean, they haven't fallen so far that it's something where they're gonna really really pull things back and maybe give it another year or whatnot. I definitely think it's past recovery for them on this one. People have kind of made their decision about this Call of Duty, and yeah, for the first time in a couple years, they've gotten competition, and you see immediately what happens, right? You get those reactions to things that fans have been requesting for years. Destiny 2 was the same way, right? Um, they stopped sunsetting items. They brought back all the items, brought all the items back to light level. They brought back a ton of other stuff that people wanted that they kept removing from the game. Again, we can get the results, but only when it starts to, affect that bottom line. And Call of Duty is definitely at that point. So yeah, I mean, personally, for me, it's good to see because this franchise definitely needed a kick in the ass. No other way to really say it. They've kind of been slacking just because they've had no competition, doing whatever they wanted, changing the formula whenever they wanted, however they wanted. Um, well, not really prioritizing a good experience, especially for a game that relies on its multiplayer so heavily. Having things that matter at that point. Having really low tick rate servers, not prioritizing connectivity. So connecting at a bad ping. Anybody who's connected, I know Henry's a big multiplayer gamer in here. Um, Henry has definitely seen, like, you don't have a good time if you are connected to a multiplayer game that's PvP centric, where you have a bad ping or bad connection, especially when it's no fault of your own, right? You've got gigabit internet or you got great internet, whatever, and you should have a good connection, but you don't because they don't they don't have enough servers or whatnot. So yeah, not a good time. So hopefully this makes them reevaluate and kind of look at what they need to do for the future of Call of Duty, um, and so on and so forth. We'll see what happens as it goes on. Obviously, it just launched recently um, this month, so we'll see what else happens with it. Obviously, the campaign people have definitely been clowning the campaign because apparently that was kind of a joke, which is ironic because last year Call of Duty had one of its better campaigns according to a lot of people. So, and I did play some of it myself, which it was pretty interesting. I haven't finished it, but it was pretty good. Um, but yeah, um, anything to add on this one? I know none of us really play it like that. I think I'm like the only one that's even played COD like that recently. But did you have anything you wanted to add to this one?
Sucks to suck. I mean, it is what we've been saying, it can't last forever, and yeah, Microsoft taking over Activision hasn't exactly turned out to be the saving grace for COD. I mean, it probably was already running out of rope under Activision. That's why they wanted to sell.
Yep.
But still, and it doesn't help this AI push from Microsoft that probably forced them to put some AI bullshit in there in the last iteration of the franchise. I mean, you know, I guess in a way it's good that they have actually have competition. I mean, I hope for the fans that they use that to make the game better, but yeah, I'm not very hopeful in that regard. I and maybe it's fine. Maybe COD should um, at least you know yeah. I mean I don't know. Maybe COD should die eventually and let something else take over. I mean. It killed Medal of Honor, which I liked way better than COD, and yeah, maybe we can bring that back and forget about COD. But yeah, have that be my takeaway.
Yeah, no doubt. Omar, did you have anything to add?
The mighty have fallen. Don't say never, eh? Don't say it's not gonna happen. Um, the crazy part is you would think because it's COD, because it's Microsoft that picked them up, they're gonna do better. But nope. Rely on AI and all that other stuff and thing on their laurel. It's just and I don't know about you guys. I saw a little bit of gameplay for COD. I'm like, why is this boss looking like a returnal boss fight? Like, since when is this COD? I don't know. It just felt like this is not true COD. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
I saw the footage. It definitely looked like somebody was high when they designed it or something. So
like you're weird. COD, you're absolutely weird for it. And for the people that hyping it up and enjoying it, well, enjoy it. And for the people that are legit addicted to it, hey, I love how you guys complain about the game, but always keep buying it. It's a love-hate relationship with them, eh? But do you think they can, what do you call it, take the Chrome back?
I mean, they're still the top selling. I mean, regardless.
Yeah,
Uh,
still they're gonna sell based on name only, but they lost shit ton of money.
yeah.
And
I
I
mean,
need to emphasize,
it just kind of retains it like it remains to be seen yet, like what they're gonna do to course correct. Like I said, this game's direction is kind of like there's so many companies that worked. Like when you start the new Call of Duty, there's like 18 splash screens for the amount of people that worked on this thing, like the amount of companies and stuff. So the direction for this one's kind of set. Um, I mean, whether or not people really kind of gravitate towards it, maybe with some of these Black Friday sales and so on and so forth, we'll have to kind of see. Um, can they redeem it next year? Potentially, with the yearly releases. Um, yeah, I mean, absolutely, they could. And like I said, it's not to say nothing good came out of this one. Like I said, the removal of skill based matchmaking. But again, the removal of skill based matchmaking is irrelevant if it doesn't prioritize connectivity. So, again, I haven't had a chance to test it out yet. Um, as the game, at least on PC, requires you to turn on secure boot, which I really don't want to right now. Again, it's not like it's something that takes a while to do or something. It's just I turned it off because it was causing some sort of issue for me for something else, and I really just don't feel like turning it back on just to play Call of Duty. Um, but yeah, I mean, we'll see if that results. Like I said, at least in better connectivity because they said first and foremost priority when you are talking about a multiplayer centric game, you need good connectivity, especially once it's out of the hands of the players. Like I said, I have gigabit internet, so and my console and my PC are both wired, so I have one like 900 and like 98 you know gigabits down or whatever. Like there's no reason I should have a bad connection. um so yeah, I think with stuff ironing that stuff out, they could do pretty well. But yeah, if they just implement, they double down on this whole AI thing and stuff like that, I think the backlash is going to be more than they kind of want to deal with. um I hadn't looked into it like a ton with the AI stuff, but I honestly, some of the stuff that people were pointing out, I wasn't even sure how they found out that it was AI generated in particular. Because one of them, I seen what people were talking about, but like just looking at the picture, I wouldn't have personally been able to determine that. I just thought it was a crazy looking image, but not that it particularly was AI generated. So yeah, I think they just need to work on striking a proper balance.
You mean for COD?
Yeah, I didn't the specific image I saw. So it was just
Oh,
like, yeah, like
what?
I just saw
What
one
was?
where he was eating, the shark was supposedly ate a knight, and so
Oh,
he had his helmet in his mouth and they caught the shark. But like that's all I saw. Like people were pointing out, like they were saying there were multiple of the tags where you can tell they were AI generated, which to me is crazy because like I'm like, bro, y'all let the art team fail that hard that they didn't notice something that it took people 10 seconds to realize was AI generated. Like to me that's the crazy part. Like this is basically a $1 billion franchise, and y'all failed that hard is crazy to me. So yeah. um but yeah, I don't know what's gonna take place with this one going forward. um but yeah, that was a small thing on COD. But like I said, it's nice to see them kind of get hit. Do stupid things get hit. Companies need to kind of take the hit in order to straighten up. and provide a better experience for the consumer. So hopefully, they pay attention to this and you know get it together going forward, and not just arbitrarily do things or you know uh, whatnot like they did with Call of Duty. Um, to our last thing here, our last topic. Um, this one is gonna definitely show up pretty big in the next year. It's already starting to take effect here now. Um, the ultimate question is, are we going to see a boost for the console market with the price hikes that are happening with PC? Anybody who is familiar or has seen some of the jokes, I mean, pretty much all of us have seen it at some point by now, even if you're not into PC. Um, but like prime example, just so people kind of understand, some RAM prices have gone up about 178%. That is an insane increase. The RAM kit that I have in my computer right now, that I'm talking to you on, is currently about uh, almost $1,000, which is insane. I did not pay nothing near that. I think total I paid like probably like $200 or something for 64
What?
gigs. Um, so
It went 4 times the price over?
it's out of control right now.
Why would like I'm stupid when it comes to this stuff.
The
Explain to me what's
reason is
happening.
because AI companies, specifically OpenAI, bought up over 80% of the supply for DRAM. So there's a major supply constraint going on right now with RAM modules, and basically companies, although they don't have to, are purposely spiking the price as a supply and demand tactic, basically. So the supply is short, so they do deem the demand is up. Even though the demand is not up on the consumer front, it's up because this company is buying so much RAM for their AI servers that basically they're entirely screwing up the market.
So basically, because of companies now, consumers are getting screwed over or fucked, basically.
Yes.
Damn.
Yeah, so this is having like a really bad effect, um, where they're also stating it's probably going to span over to graphics cards soon. So right now, graphics cards are still priced really well. You can actually get a 9070 XT right now under MSRP. So basically, if you're going to upgrade something, do it now. Um, that's pretty much where it's at. Uh, like I said, RAM, it's kind of too late. RAM
Gotta
is just
ask
up
you,
everywhere.
will it impact the SATA that I need?
Yeah, eventually.
Uh,
Yeah, I mean,
so
they're just gonna go up in price all over the board because parts of what's in some SSDs is also the NAND, which is part of uh, some uh, some RAM as well. So they're not gonna go up crazily just yet, but in the future, um, like I said, sometime in the next 6 months, they probably will. Stuff is just kind of being affected differently. RAM was the immediate one because that's what they were buying up. But, everything, a bunch of stuff has RAM. Like graphics cards also have VRAM, to the point where, like I said, that the story came out that NVIDIA is no longer providing the RAM when they provide to AIB cards, which are going to make AIB cards are aftermarket brands, um, which is, they're already pretty expensive. Aftermarket cards cost more than reference cards, so they could potentially go up and see a price increase there. So, like I said, the fact that you can still get some sub MSRP right now is like this is the time to jump, like immediately. Um, so yeah, that's another big concern there. Yeah, it's just it could get ugly. this is also the thing that's leading to potentially people talking about another price hike for the Xbox potentially happening soon, um, which could definitely happen, especially because they don't really have any stock, right? They basically reduced the stock to immediate use case, meaning like they don't have a bunch stocked away where they could keep the price where it is, as opposed to PlayStation apparently having like a bunch of stock. Um, so yeah, it's going to be interesting to kind of see what happens, if some of this stuff could be alleviated. There's also tariffs. There's so many things happening right now at
Xbox
an
is fucked,
economic
aren't
level.
they?
I mean, they've been pretty much
Microsoft
at that
as
point.
a whole is screwed with this one.
Yeah, like it's not a good situation overall. Um, Again, we don't know how long it's gonna last, how long that constraint's gonna be. But needless to say, AI is causing a lot of problems right now, for a lot of people. Especially again, like I said, the consumer is the one that's suffering when businesses are trying to do something, because ultimately businesses don't care, which we always like to remind people of here. These companies do not care. Um, like I
Yeah, no,
said,
they don't.
yeah, it's all about the bottom line, their own business. They don't care about the effects they're having on resources, uh, energy conservation went out the window with AI. Like the amount of electricity and some of the stuff that some of these AI farms use. Like honestly, I don't want any of that stuff anywhere near me. Um, raising our power bills and all this other stuff. So yeah, I don't know, it's not looking good. Like I said, we don't really know the extent of how bad it will get. But I mean, even the CEO of Main Gear, who is a long-time PC manufacturer for gaming PCs, basically said it could get bad and it's probably not going to get good again anytime soon. Which is crazy because we just got back to the point where like you could get a really good PC for about 12 to 1300 bucks and be really really good, and then basically that lasted for about 10 seconds, and then like graphics card prices came down, and then boom, we get hit by the RAM stuff. So yeah, it's not gonna be pretty. uh
Apparently, this is gonna be all the way to, well, 2026 is literally around the corner, but
yeah,
I would not be surprised if it's also 2027.
yeah,
Cause,
the only good thing about this is that a lot of these systems are stuck on DDR5. So basically, if the consumer market moves to a new iteration of DRAM, basically it would alleviate the constraint. So, you know, new consoles should not be affected because they're not going to
I
use
was
the same
literally about to
DRAM.
ask that.
Yeah, they're using different RAM. They're using updated RAM, which they currently don't use. They could in the future, but currently they don't. So it shouldn't affect new consoles. It shouldn't affect when basically
Why will it
GDDR7.
affect the Steam though console? Or also no.
Don't know. We just gotta wait.
Okay.
Yeah, we gotta wait and see because I don't know the full configuration for that. Also, what deals they have in place. They may have certain deals in place locked in where they can assure a certain price for the components that they get, and they may be locked in for 4 or 5 years. So they may have it so like, hey, it doesn't matter what happens to the market, we get our RAM or whatever at this price. So that's another thing where companies benefit because they have these bulk orders and so on and so forth, and they kind of can make demands for certain things, uh, as they go forward with some of these titles. But yeah, definitely anything you need currently, if you're looking for an SSD in the future, that's whatever, anything using some of these NANDs and stuff that are
Buy.
on some of these devices.
Don't focus on Black Friday, whatever. Buy, because what you're paying now is gonna be much cheaper compared like the price hike.
Yeah,
Like, I can't imagine RAM costing 200 something is now costing 1K. Like,
yeah,
that's crazy.
yeah.
I had no idea it was to such degree. I thought maybe there's a shortage of RAM and that's about it. But no, this is price gouging to the maximum extreme.
Yeah, I mean, I helped somebody build a computer. Like I said, just before the price hike, he paid 104 for 32 gigs of RAM, and that same kit now is like $336 or something like that. So his
Get
computer
your
would have been way more expensive.
any your component you need, get it right now, otherwise you're screwed.
Yeah, essentially. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how this kind of affects everything going forward. Like I said, consoles are definitely not potentially immune to this, depending on how some of these companies prepared. I mean, people were already talking about, in the future, um, Nintendo could raise the price of even the Switch 2, and they could be even affected.
Do you
So
think anyone saw this one coming? Or
nobody saw this RAM shortage coming. Not like this. This was like a complete blindside, and you can tell by the reaction of some of these
yeah, then I don't think
companies.
there is any cushion for consoles or whatever if they didn't see this one coming.
Yeah, the only thing for
Because this
obviously
is a
something like
scary one, eh?
PlayStation is they use a bunch of proprietary stuff and have a bunch of deals in place as well as stock. So they would have already been stocking up for like Christmas and like tax season and stuff like that, among another things. So I mean, they could have up to 100 to 110 million consoles already ready to go. So they may not need to make any changes. And then by the time they
Mm-hmm.
would have been affected, if they would be affected, they may not need to make the price change because the prices may have started to come back down. Because basically what happens is it's economics, general economics. So eventually the price goes up so much that sales start to go down. So then the price eventually has to bust and come back down, and supply has to balance out basically. So, but the question is, when will that happen? Like, you don't want to be the person needing RAM and having to wait and pray that this stuff comes back down. So that's why I said, it's best to get it now. Like I said, if I know what I know now, I definitely would have bought another set of DDR like 6400 RAM before the stuff went up because I had the
You could
opportunity.
absolutely have flipped it if you want, like,
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like, I mean, I could have sold, essentially something worth $300 for, 600 bucks, and it would be a deal. You know,
and you will still make money. Yeah, yeah. It's crazy
yeah.
where we are right now. It legit is.
But yeah, so it's kind of out of control. Like I said, thankfully most of us kind of have what we want by now. Think if you're looking at getting a Steam Deck or something as well, I would definitely make that trigger pull. Uh,
AI
now,
killing the industry bit by bit.
yeah, yeah, essentially. It's all good, Viper. Glad you made it, bro. Um,
Viper!
but yeah, thankfully, like I said, most of us have kind of got what we want for the next couple of years. We've been considering something like a Steam Deck. Like she's been thinking about the Steam machine, and then I know Morgan has been considering a Steam Deck as well. Um, I don't know. We're just kind of, I guess, it sucks. It's like you got to spend money now to save money later, and it's like
Yeah,
you might not be ready to make that push. Like a lot of people are like, kind of like where Morgan is at, right? Like it's like, okay, if the Steam machine costs too much, I'll just get a Steam Deck. But the Steam Deck is on sale right now. So if you're essentially going to just get a Steam Deck, it's going to suck if you just get it later because you're going to pay $150 to $200 more just because you waited. You know what I mean? So
mm-hmm.
yeah, like it's just a weird spot to be in. But I think a lot of things, like, economy wise, are definitely gonna kind of bust in the next year or two. There's been a conversation about this, with Brap and Logic and them as well. They talk about certain parts where we're in. There's a battle between, are we in a recession or what he has called a rich session, where like some people are doing very very well, and so they're
PC
kind of,
session. That's what you guys are.
yeah, they're in a good spot, but then some people are not, right? So, but basically you know uh the overall economy is suffering from a bunch of other stuff that's going on. So eventually, you can end up basically in one. A lot of people are saying that, particularly the United States is in uh, a recession. They're just refusing it to call it one as of yet, um, because basically what happens when you start to do that, uh, basically it causes a reset where like the whole market starts to drop in order to make things affordable again, and a bunch of other stuff happens. Like it's weird, and it gets into like some deeper economics, but yeah, I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see who kind of makes the moves and who is really um were prepared for this, and who essentially doesn't get affected. Right now though, like I said, if you are looking for a PlayStation 5 console or something, this is again the time to bust a move. You can get one digitally for $400. Um, yeah, because ain't a lot of upgrading happening probably at least in the next year. If we're lucky, the earliest break for this would probably be like, July or something next year. But um, most people are thinking like basically the problem is like nobody knows. Because like I said, somebody like the Main Gear CEO or something, these people would know. You're talking about people who pay attention. Their entire business revolves around paying attention to the market, right? And for them to get blindsided tells you how bad
Yeah.
it is. Um, so yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Like I said, we just don't really know who's gonna really be affected, because we just don't know how some of these companies prepared. But consoles will probably be the least affected, but they could still be affected. Like that's why it's kind of a question mark, right? Will this happen? Um, and even the new Switch 2, like I said, could still be affected by
I
some of these
don't
things.
think that with you will be affected mostly because they already made that deal, I think.
I mean, and they could. Like I said, we don't know what's in place to prevent it. Companies are usually pretty smart about this stuff. Um, but yeah, pretty much what you have by the end of this year is pretty much what we'll probably all be gaming on for the rest of this generation. Uh, so
But really, nobody predicted this? This is crazy.
well, they apparently like I mean apparently they went crazy, like because like OpenAI is not new, but they just all of a sudden went on like a buying spree and went crazy, and then on top of all the other AI companies, trying to ramp up. Like everybody is in like this weird AI race where they're trying to, I don't know, trying to be the super duper AI of choice. Everybody thinks like AI is going to be like the new Google, basically, and
They're,
everybody wants to be Google.com of AIs.
okay,
And
but in return, they're fucking themselves up and the company and everyone in between up.
yeah, basically. So yeah, I don't know, man. Thankfully, like I said, most of us are pretty solid uh, going forward as far as what we have. So I'm kind of in the same boat where I don't know if we
Yeah.
want a Steam Deck or not. Um,
I'm the one that's fucked right now. I have a PS5 that have no warranty left, and I don't know, do I buy a Pro, do I buy a PS5 again, or do I just wait until it breaks? Because
yeah,
it
I
can
mean, I
break
would have
any
definitely,
second.
at least here. I don't know what the sales were like over there, but at least here, I would have definitely, if I hadn't gone and made the move to a Pro already, I would have definitely done it. With it being 649 right now. Um,
The problem is, um, I don't know when the PS6 is coming out. That's the problem.
Uh, like I said, I mean, if you're good, then I mean, it's probably like I said. I can almost guarantee it's gonna be 2028. That's what I've been telling people, and it's not. I don't think early. Some people are saying early. They think it's gonna be revealed 2027 late and come out early 2026. I don't think so. I think it's going to be. I think we're looking at like a November 2028 release at the earliest. And given they've kind
You
of
mean
talked about it could go longer.
2028?
Yes, 2028.
Okay. Because you said 2020, I was confused what you mean.
No, I said 8. You
Okay.
just didn't hear it.
Oh, I didn't hear.
Yeah,
Okay.
2028. So yeah,
So you
I
think
mean,
the reveal is gonna be 2027, 2026, something like that?
I don't think they're revealing anything until 2027 minimum, and it won't release before 2028.
So we might have a repeat of the 360 generation where Xbox is gonna have what you call it heads up by a year, maybe even 2 years. So
Depending on what they do, but
what on
obviously,
the street Xbox are releasing the console 2026?
I mean, they've changed that since then. The same people who were leaking that have now moved it to 2027 for the last couple months. So
Okay,
the
so we will
reality
see.
is they don't know,
Nobody knows.
and
Yeah.
you really don't want to come out with a new console where you're having trouble controlling the price due to stuff like RAM constraints and other stuff as well. So
Yeah, I would not be I would be. I'm curious if they're gonna delay uh, releasing a new console because of all this RAM price hike. But then it makes a question: would uh, would you halt game development for a PS6 then?
no, I mean
It's a,
I don't think it would stop development. I mean this kind of stuff is already woven into them. I already think like games are in development for PS6. So like that's already underway.
I would not be surprised about that, but how do you deal with what's happening then? It's interesting.
I mean, like I said, their best bet is they can mitigate some of the issue by either it not being an issue by the time they get ready to launch, or because they're ordering in such bulk that a company is willing to sell at a reasonable price and not have to deal with the consumer grade pricing. So there's still ways to combat it for them, um, but we'll see what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Viper said he thought I said 2020 as well, but no, 2028. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens, man. I think, like I said, we're all pretty good. I know Weeb already has a Steam Deck and his all the console
Yeah,
he needs.
everyone
So
here, besides Morgan, is set.
yeah, Morgan is just the only one kind of on a fence here about what she wants to do going forward. So
She legit need to what you call it, pull the trigger quick. Otherwise, she gonna find herself stuck
yeah,
with this one.
we actually found a deal. Somebody was selling the 1 terabyte Steam Deck for 450 OLED here, and they said they only played it for like 20 minutes or something, and they just didn't want it. So uh,
Oh,
might have to take them
you,
up on that offer because it's about 650 plus tax otherwise.
yeah,
So,
you should have absolutely done so.
yeah, so we saw that locally. And I think I can't remember, we might not know this, but I think there's a runtime on the Steam Deck to actually see like how long the system's been being ran. So you can like actually tell because like I was like, how do I know you've only played it for 20 minutes, you know? But I can't remember. But yeah, like I said, it'll be interesting. Weeb, did you have anything to add to this conversation pertaining to the price hikes and RAM and all this craziness.
Um, yeah, I mean, AI ruining the world again. Can't wait for that bubble to burst.
Man, who you telling?
It already burst. What you think? Can't wait for it to burst.
No, he's talking about the AI bubble bursting, when
Oh,
basically when it stops being like this race to the top, and it busts. Basically, it becomes unviable, and then they basically stop running up the market.
will it burst though?
I mean, it's
Oh,
it's
that,
pretty much
definitely.
predicted by every single person in tech right now. It's just when. It's a matter of when, not if.
Mm,
Yeah,
It's a massive bubble. Absolutely.
yeah. So yeah, it's definitely gonna, but hopefully sooner rather than later, because it's
yeah, cause it's fucking everything up, dude.
yeah, it is. It is not fun. But yeah, with that, like I said, we can go ahead and get up out of here. But yeah, again, lots of great games to look forward to in 2026. Like I said, hopefully y'all ways to play locked down. I think mostly everybody that tunes in, they either got their PS5 Pros already or your PCs and whatnot, and we're all pretty good to go. Like I said, I'll make this decision on this Steam Deck here shortly, so I don't get blindsided. But yeah, man, a lot of great games as long as you got the game the devices to play them going forward. Like I said, 2025 was crazy. 2026 looks insane, and going forward. So hopefully we have as an amazing year as we did in 2025 for 2026. Again, shout out to Morgan, who couldn't be here because she was knocked out because she did not sleep. So I'm sure she would have had fun with some of these questions. Um, but yeah, Weeb, where can the people find you, sir?
You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky as a Weep Sheriff with Infinite Rhizome. And yeah, um, keep on gaming. And of course, Otter Nation.
Otter Nation. Omar, where can the people find you, sir?
So, Rachel, hit that like button to the stream out. Shout out to Kay doing her thing. You can find me Caravan Coach Job on Twitter and Baton Gym Podcast every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Play your game, play Dispatch, play Expedition 33, play Yote. Like, this year have been a blessing.
Absolutely. And yeah, I am your host, Innate, or known as the Real Innate on Twitter and Blue Sky. Um, and yeah, like I said, just have a blast, man. It's been a lot of fun out here. A lot of good games to finish up before these wrap ups finally come out. Don't get caught slipping. But yeah, otherwise, we're going to get up out of here. Otter Nation.
Otter Nation.
Answer